After a full year of being on Substack full time, we are planning our exit strategy. And honestly, what we discovered about this platform completely changed our minds about newsletter creation too. And today we are sharing our unfiltered take on why creators are ditching their blogs and going on Substack, why big social media personalities are also joining Substack, but we're also going to talk about who Substack is for and who it's not a good idea for them to join, and why we have our full exit strategy already in place.
Hey everyone, we're the Branding Fix, two solo bloggers turned co-workers who are now documenting the journey of rebuilding our blogs in the age of AI. So welcome to co-working. Let's all clock in, get comfy and get something to drink, and let's get to work. Because content creation and blogging is our business. So today we're deep diving our Substack experience. We've both been on Substack a full year. We're going to talk about why we waited so long to join, what we learned in our time there, and why we're planning our exit.
But first we need to talk about why we avoided Substack for so long. And the reality is, it's really simple. Substack is another blog. So as bloggers who already had our .coms, we had our WordPress and everything set up, we were already creating content, joining Substack didn't sound like it was a smart thing to do. Because essentially, we would be adding another blog to our plate where we have to create and maintain content.
So the tipping point to joining Substack was actually just monetization. Our strategy was to monetize our audience via a subscription, and Substack offered the easiest and low barrier point to entry for our followers and subscribers to convert to paid subscribers. And that was after trying other methods and other softwares and membership platforms, and Substack just felt like the most organic in order to do that. That was the biggest tipping point for me, and I feel like Victoria can also agree that for her it was strictly the monetization aspect. Now, as far as secondary aspects as well, it was really attractive to think about the discovery on the platform. And we really thought that building an audience and growing the newsletter would be a better fit there because of the fact that you do have a whole built-in kind of social platform where you could get discovered. There's other newsletters I can recommend you as well through referrals. So the discoverability and the growth of the email list, we thought that it would be quite good on Substack. So all of that was an added bonus that would go on top of the monetization.
Now, when we look back at our first year, we had some wins, there were some struggles, but we also want to talk about the money we made on the platform as well as audience growth. Now, starting with the wins, it was hands down easier on Substack to convert free subscribers to paid. Now, I know Francesca had a community over on Heartbeat. I had a community on Kajabi. And when we moved to Substack, we saw our paid conversions soar. When Francesca compared her monthly subscription on Heartbeat, it grew over 200%. Now, when I compare my audience revenue on Patreon, because I was on Patreon years ago, and when I compared it to the monthly subscription now on Substack, that grew 2,400%. And then I left Patreon, I demonetized, and then later on, after some years in between, I joined Kajabi, and my monthly subscription in comparison to Kajabi and Substack, my monthly growth was over 1,000%. So it is clear from the both of us that it was super easy to monetize on Substack with their built-in paywalls and through sending emails and the one-tap click to upgrade so readers could see our paywalled post. Another great win for Substack is that it has excellent built-in SEO, which means because it's operating like a blog, when readers are searching for content and if you have a Substack post about it, odds are you will come up in search too. And another win is just the overall Substack platform, because you have the ability to host a blog for free, host a podcast for free, and send a newsletter for free. So basically, Substack is providing this infrastructure where you can create all this content for your audience without paying a dime. Now, when you turn on paid subscriptions, that's when they will take a percentage of your earnings. But otherwise from that, it really is an all-in-one built-in solution for you to create content, and they host it for you without you having to pay upfront, especially in the beginning. Now, as it relates to the struggles with Substack, one of them has to do with the fees. So when you turn on paid subscription, Substack automatically takes a cut. As of the time of recording, it is 10% of each transaction. So for each subscriber, they take 10% of their fees. Then you also have your Stripe fees to pay, which again, as of the time of recording, is 2.9% of the transaction plus a 30% fee. So when you really add all this up, especially when you have a low subscription cost, like say $5 thereabout, it is really a huge chunk of your income. Another struggle with Substack, and I know it drives Francesca especially crazy. I mean, I know it drives me crazy too, but it's definitely the analytics. It is horrendous on Substack. You really have no information to go off. And as a person who came from a previous email service provider, well, actually my last two provided very detailed stats. So I'm used to getting more information than just open rates and engagement and what people are clicking. Like, I need details. What email converted them? How many emails did they open? Can I see where their interest lies? Like, I need more information so that I can create content and tailor it for my audience. It's really difficult on Substack. I do hope that's something they improve in the future, but for right now, I am not a happy camper. Another struggle that is kind of tied into why we joined Substack, even though it was a secondary reason, is the fact that it is an all-in-one platform and it has this social aspect. So I was really hoping to gain some discovery and get distribution on their platform. I know it's probably in its infancy, but for right now, the distribution is really low. Substack also has an entirely new culture in itself as a social media platform, because again, it's operating as a blog, a newsletter, and social media. So you really have to spend time learning the culture, and it's very different from other platforms. And that in itself can be a struggle, especially when you are new. And another struggle is that you really need to engage a lot on the platform. So outside of creating your Substack post, which gets sent out to your subscribers via email, you also really need to use their other features on the platform. So you will need to go live every so often, and you really need to use the notes feature. Now, I went down a notes rabbit hole. I was very aggressive. I was posting multiple times a day. It was especially hard because you don't have a feature where you can schedule posts ahead. So I was logging on multiple times a day to post. And I was really aggressive. I would say maybe for 3 months. And I saw the return maybe around the 45-day mark. I had a couple posts hit a couple 100,000 in terms of reach and a lot of engagements in the tens of thousands. And at the time, I thought that was great. But the conversion from those hundreds of thousands and tens of thousands of people commenting and liking and sharing and engaging, the conversion to subscribers, free subscribers at the bare minimum, was nil. So again, you're turning and burning to get discovered, yes, on the notes feature. But if you pay attention to the conversions to free subscribers, it is very low. So that in itself is a struggle. And the final metric we wanted to assess in our one-year journey is audience growth. And I brought a decent-sized audience to Substack. I brought over 25,000 subscribers to that platform. And I have to say, I really didn't grow much. Would I get the occasional sign-up from a Substack publication that is recommending me? Yes, I would. But I would also notice that the unsubscribes were higher amongst other people recommending me, because sometimes the interests did not align. And in general, I think my audience was turned off from the Substack platform because I think there's a built-in thought process where they're automatically assuming, okay, she's going to sell me something. So in addition to not getting discovery, to people having preconceived notions about the platform and not getting a lot of distribution, I really did not grow on Substack. Actually, the opposite occurred. I lost subscribers.
It was actually the same for me. And I was just telling Victoria how shocked I was about that, thinking that we were going to grow and get all these new subscribers because of discoverability and referrals and all this stuff. And actually what's ended up happening is that I have also lost subscribers. I feel like my unsubscribes from every single email. And again, I've had years of sending emails and years of looking at stats. So I know that I had a very low unsubscribe rate before. And even when I hadn't changed the type of emails I was sending, the unsubscribe was still way higher on Substack. So I definitely lost subscribers when we look at bottom line numbers from when I started on Substack to where I finished on Substack. Now, I think that there are several ways why people feel attracted to go to Substack, especially when it comes to bloggers moving to Substack or creating Substack accounts. And I think the biggest one for bloggers is the fact that they want to monetize their audience. They want to have an easy way for them to add subscriptions, paid subscriptions to their site. And a lot of these other things we've talked about that Victoria and I were doing before, they have a monthly fee attached to them. So when you don't know how your monetization strategy and your subscriptions are going to do, it is definitely really attractive to have a platform that gives you access to that type of service for free. They just take a bigger cut when you actually have paid members. So I think that that is definitely something that's very attractive. I think another thing that is very attractive to people is the fact that they're in an all-in-one platform where they can post their long-form content as well as a social media platform. There is a lot of burnout of people turning and burning because of the algorithm, and they feel like they can't get eyeballs on their stuff if they're posting on Instagram or other platforms. And Substack still felt very new and like they could actually maybe explode on there and get more traction and get more discoverability, which, listen, that is also what we thought at first. And we've had a year of being there and the numbers and the results to prove that it wasn't. It did not deliver what we were thinking. But we see bloggers more and more going to Substack for that reason. I think it is also a great low barrier to entry to a content creator, say an Instagrammer or a TikToker who doesn't have a blog, but they want to add written long form content and a newsletter to their repertoire of things that they're doing and how they're connecting with their audience. And this is very low barrier to entry because they don't have to learn WordPress. They don't have to learn a whole new software. They don't have to worry about any of the technicalities, get hosting and all of these things. So they can just go on there, open a free account and just start typing and start posting. And the last thing I will say is that I feel there are a lot of bloggers that have moved and are still moving to Substack because they think blogging is dead, because they think that AI killed blogging and there's going to be no saving and no coming back from blogging. So they're trying to put their eggs in another basket, which in my opinion, it is the subscription model basket. That is where they are going to Substack so they can build a community and then monetize that community all in one place. Now here's some some real talk, my personal opinion after being on Substack for over a year is the fact that I don't think any of those things are true. And I feel like once these people spend some time on the platform and they turn and burn, create content, do all the things, I mean, even like Victoria said, she was going all in on notes and all of the stuff, and they're going to put in all that time and they're not going to see the return, because I don't think that it's a coincidence that both Victoria and I had very similar experiences as far as the results we got, which in a way, yes, money went up, but at the same time, our subscribers went down. That to me is not a good sign, and it's not a good direction. Also, we have to think of the market in general, and I don't think going in the direction of thinking you're going to only monetize your audience through a subscription model is the way to go. So I think that a lot of these people are going to come to the hard realization that some of the things that they're banking on are not going to work, especially long term.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think it's a good long-term strategy. And even though everyone is so focused on AI killing blogging, I think sometimes they're forgetting to pay attention to their readers and their subscribers and people who are consuming their content and looking at the direction they are going in. So with that in mind, we have been thinking a lot about who Substack is for, but also who it isn't good for as well. Now, after being on Substack for over a year, I think the platform is perfect for content creators who are on other social media platforms, let's say Instagram or TikTok, maybe even YouTube, who have a really large existing audience. They have a following, they have a community that they're really tapped into. I actually think Substack might be a good platform for them, especially if they don't have a blog and they haven't gone down the rabbit hole of long form written content. I really think Substack will be a great platform for them because, again, it has that low barrier to entry. They won't have to learn WordPress and how to set up their themes and just doing everything from scratch. I think Substack will be easy for them to transition to long form content, converting their existing community from viewers and followers on the different platforms to email newsletter subscribers, and that they can connect with them in a new and different way. So long story short, if you have a really big audience and you want to get into blogging, but you are intimidated by it and you are locked in with your audience, then maybe Substack would be a good fit for you. Now, as it relates to who Substack is probably not a good idea for, I'm just going to say everyone who is not an already established content creator with a big audience and following. So if you are not that person, then I don't think Substack is for you. If you're an existing blogger, I don't think Substack is for you. Even if you are a blogger whose traffic tanked after multiple Google updates and you're desperate and you're scrambling and you're trying to recover traffic, I don't think Substack is good for you either. I actually think you should double down on your blog and then maybe double down on social media and trying to reach a new audience and engaging with your existing audience and building that community and connection. But I do have a list of people it might work for. Now, if you are an opinion writer, you know those people that you see in publications, newsletters, magazines, and the like, sometimes TV pundits, news pundits, all those folks, they need a Substack. And as a news junkie, I will say a lot of them, when they come on, you hear that, oh, they have a Substack entitled so-and-so. So you can go check them out. So definitely opinion writers, journalists, pundits, I think professors, because I follow a professor on Substack, like a philosophy professor who has a whole bunch of opinions. They are really good on Substack. So professors, teachers, experts in certain specific fields. I've also gone down a rabbit hole of subscribing to an astrology person. What do you call them? Astrophysicist Substack. So yes, they are probably good there as well. And freelance writers. If you are a freelance writer and maybe you want to get more writing gigs or practice your work, I actually think Substack will be a great place for you. I have also noticed, because I was going ham on my notes strategy, like I told you, I actually think it's great for networking, because as I was posting my notes and engaging with a lot of people, there were a lot of calls and asks for people who are interested in submitting content and submitting their writing, submitting their poetry, essays, and just all the like to publications that they are starting or currently running or a part of. So if you are a writer in any way, shape, or form, or teacher, professor, and you have that unique point of view, I think you'll do well on Substack. Otherwise, you need to be super opinionated and have really hot takes or maybe controversial takes to do really well on Substack. But again, if you have a blog, share your controversial takes and your problematic opinions or your super opinionated thoughts on your blog so that you can get the traffic and make money.
So with all of that in mind, we are planning our exit strategy. And a big part of that is, yes, some of our overall strategy for our blogs is also changing. The biggest change we are making is we are demonetizing. I know that that can sound really scary and counterintuitive because we're telling you that you can make money blogging, but we are demonetizing our audience. We are not trying to monetize our audience anymore. And there's going to be a lot of changes as it comes to that. One of those is demonetizing Substack subscriptions. And that was one of the main reasons why we went on the platform, as you remember at the beginning. So we are definitely going back to a regular newsletter platform that will give us all the bells and whistles and analytics that we like to have so that we can control what we're sending. We can create better content. We can have better audience retention because, again, we lost a lot of subscribers by being on Substack. So I think that one of the biggest things is, yes, demonetizing, just sending regular newsletters again and being able to control those segments and where people are coming in from, what they're interested in. So all of that, we're just going back back to our basics, sending newsletters and, the regular email marketing ways. But also that means that we want to control our audience. I feel like when you are on Substack, you are still in some way, even though you still have access to your email list and you can export it at any time, but you are still on rented space. It is still the Substack platform. And like Victoria mentioned earlier, there are some connotations and some ideas that people have about the name Substack. And when they hear that, they're going to associate that with your brand. And we definitely want to move away from that. We want to have our audience in a place where we own it. If we want to move it, we can move it. And we control basically how we interact with them, which I think is important. And we don't really have all of that 100% when we are on their platform. Again, they're providing a lot of things for free. Also, that comes with some restrictions and some caveats. So we're just really going back to basics of blogging. We are pushing the blog content. We're going to take a blogging first approach. We want to drive all the traffic to the blog. We want to increase those views on the blog and drive the traffic up so that the revenue on the platforms and on our blogs is going to increase. So that is going to be our main goal. That is the strategy where we're at right now. And Substack does not align with any of that.
Yes, absolutely. Basically, our blog strategy has changed, but also so has our business model. But we still have some thoughts on Substack. Okay, we have some hot takes. We have some predictions and just overall thoughts on the platform. So as it relates to industry predictions and just all platform concerns, I think the main prediction I have is that Substack will continue to grow. So I had a meeting yesterday with some clients I used to work with in my niche, and we all agree that we've seen Substack growing. It is continuing to grow. They are planning to get their clients on Substack as well and set up profiles and all the things. So I actually found it interesting that more people from different areas and different niches and interests are creating Substack profiles. So it's fair to say we think Substack is going to continue to grow. We also think that Substack will definitely continue to lean more in the social media space. I know it was selling itself as a newsletter first, kind of like a blog second, and social media, social platform third. I actually see that social platform even overtaking the blogging and maybe newsletter portion. I mean, it is a hot take, but I've noticed they've been spending a lot of money on creating and starting features that are social media adjacent. For example, they had the notes feature, which reminded me of OG Twitter, now X. Of course, we have threads. So they're really leaning into that because that's where the notes kind of come in. They also turned on live. When we were on Substack, the live feature became available for everyone. And I think the live is kind of reminiscent to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, TikTok Live. So it's really leaning in on those elements. We also have a feeling that they're really leaning heavy on trying to get that TikTok audience, because you remember that time when TikTok was banned, but then it came back and then TikTok has been in limbo. They were quoting TikTokers heavy, like the founders, creators, people working at Substack, they were quoting them heavy. So I think they really are trying to get those large content creators from those platforms. And as a result, we think they're going to also spend time on providing the features and hopefully analytics that they also know and love from their respective platforms. So we also think that is a prediction as well. I personally feel, and I said this to Fran, I think they're trying to do too much, okay? Blog, newsletter, social platform. They're really trying to be this all in one place. Right now, Substack is kind of like this utopia for people who feel burnt out from social media, but I do see that changing as well. I see it eventually evolving, and I know this based on history. Remember when Threads started? People thought it was going to be the utopia from Twitter, which became X, because they thought it was a dumpster fire over there. Well, you know what? Threads is just as much of a dumpster fire. I do think Substack will eventually get to that place as well. I mean, word on the curb, it has been starting. If you know, you know, but I think it will definitely evolve even further. And then finally, and this is our hot takes, Francesca brought this up and I was like, oh my God, facts, is the fact that it is growing so much that they might eventually sell ads. See, right now, it's kind of like this clean user interface, which again is why I think people think it's this utopia from social media, but it has those social elements because they're providing free blog, free newsletter, free podcast. If you want to do that, you can host your live for free and have the replays and just all the things for free, provided, again, you don't turn on paid subscriptions. But for the people who aren't doing paid subscriptions and they're just there to create content and they're there for the culture, as they onboard more people, that's a lot of free resources that they are providing. And even for the people who have paid subscriptions and they're taking their 10%, I don't think that is enough money as a business model to keep things going. So maybe they may venture down to the rabbit hole of having to host ads and share ads on their platforms to recoup some of their money and also turn a profit, because in the end, it is a business and businesses are in the business of making money. So they need to make a profit. So yeah, you know, those are some of our hot takes. Another hot take I never ran by Francesca, but it just popped into my head. What if maybe Substack gets acquired by some other company and then they take it in this whole different direction and, you know, we end up with a platform that is completely different from its original founding. Because I'm seeing so many acquisitions happening nowadays, and when they happen, everything changes. I mean, we're kind of seeing that with TikTok right now. I mean, Fran, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that acquisitions are really popular right now, and definitely I am seeing that with TikTok. I have no idea where we're going to be with TikTok in 6 months or even a year from now, even if a sale goes through and all of these things. So I think that we are in a moment of change as well with social media. We're in a moment of change of how people interact with social media and how they spend time online. So I think that a lot of that is going to play a part in how the Substack, the platform, addresses how they create and what features and which direction they go in. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, but I think that I still stand by the people that you said are good on Substack and the people that we said it's not for. I would still stand by all of those things. And I would just simply tell those people, focus on the better places for you. If you're a podcaster and you want to have a different platform, go to YouTube. If you're a blogger, double down on your blog and then add some social media, some videos, some podcasts or something like that. Like, I think there are better ways for you to invest your time that will actually give you a return on your investment. Remember, time is our most valuable resource and we need to spend it well. But all right, team, that is a wrap on today's co-working session and all our hot takes on Substack. Hopefully you got some good information and some food for thought. If you are on Substack, let us know in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on it? What are you seeing? How are you growing or not growing? Your wins, your fails? Let us know all of the things. And if you were considering Substack, let us know where you stand right now. Did we say anything that maybe swayed you one way or the other? So leave us a comment and let us know all the things. But for now, we are done. We are clocking out. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this session.
Absolutely. But I'm really excited to tell you about what's coming up next, because in our next video, we will be sharing our full, and I mean full, monetization history. We are laying out everything we did to monetize our content as content creators, as bloggers, as podcasters, as video creators, just all the things. We're going to share our wins or fails, what we learned, what we would do differently, and just everything that we've learned from day one of monetization to present. So this is going to be a very real and raw and vulnerable episode, but we really hope that it will help you on your content creator journey, because when it comes to monetizing, it really is a big thing to think about, and knowing how to approach it can be crucial in determining whether you're successful or whether you'll have to take the L on that one. So be sure to like the video, share the video, okay? Also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can know when we're having our next co-working session, because we want you to clock into co-working and get all the tips and tricks and tell us what you're struggling with and what you're failing with as well. But until next time, we're looking forward to talking to you in the next one. Bye for now.